Happy New Year! Welcome to the very first bite-sized marketing session of 2023. I know it's mind-blowing, but nonetheless, we are here. I hope that you have suitably gorged yourself across the last 10 days or so. And if you're anything like me, you're thinking, well, it's time now to be a bit stricter with the food and get to the gym a little bit more often. But seems that we are starting a brand new year, I thought that it would be appropriate for us to talk about simple marketing plans for this year, as some of you may not have thought about pulling together a marketing plan or put any plans in place whatsoever. So this is all about trying to help you do this. I'm just checking on the lives, and we are indeed live, and there are people watching. So hello to you all, and please feel free to drop something in the chat to let me know that you're watching. I know there's a lot of voyeurs out there who don't like to announce that they're watching, but that's that's good too. That's good too. Don't worry about that. Okay, let's dive. Before I do dive into it, I just wanted to alert you all to next week's special guest, the fantastic Chert. If you don't know Chert, then you need to. Chert is a paid advertising specialist, and he's going to come on and talk all about Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, TikTok, wherever your ad needs may go. Chert will talk to you about the best strategies for that. He may actually talk to you a little bit as well about remarketing, which is another sort of add-on, if you like, to the paid advertising. But I won't steal his thunder. We will look forward to seeing him next week on Tuesday at 12:30 live on LinkedIn. It's also streamed to my YouTube channel, so you can catch up there. And then I do repost things. We'll talk about that later on onto my website as well. All right, so there is the preamble for you, given enough time for people to come on and get comfortable. Let's kick things off. So, simple marketing plans for 2023. Where do you, just knocking things everywhere, where do you start? Well, look, I think the first thing to do is to make a start. Writing things down is always the best place to start. I know that people watching this are going to have different levels of business and different levels of turnover and spend and that kind of thing, right? So I need to keep this reasonably generic to appeal to you all. But I'd say if you haven't put together a marketing plan before, that you should do some. You should do it. And I'll give you some hints and tips as to what you need to be thinking about and how best to pull that together. If you are a business which is reasonably established and does spend money on marketing every year, I would suggest to you that the best place to start is with your marketing budget. Now, some people may say, but Miles, what about the company goal? Look, I'll come on to that. I think as a business owner, you need to think about how much money you are willing to invest in your marketing before you start to have the deep and meaningful conversations with external parties about advertising, spending, investing. You need to really think about the monies that you're looking to invest, because look, you can get short-term wins with marketing, but it is really a long-term strategy, okay, and something which you need to look at investing. Now, typically, a business should be looking to invest in terms of marketing spend somewhere between 5 and 15% of your overall gross turnover a year back in marketing. Now, the vast majority of companies will only spend maybe between 2 and 5%. depending on what you're doing, I'm going to suggest that perhaps that is too low a level to have any impact. If you wanted to have a good steer as to where you should be in terms of what budget you should put to one side, I would recommend a 10% of your overall gross turnover as a figure for you to get started. So turnover £100,000 a year, think about investing £10,000 into your marketing. That should be the very sort of the least that you should be doing. And let's not forget that marketing comes in all sorts of guises. I think we just think about maybe marketing as being advertising. It's not. It's a whole lot more. It could be investment in your networking. It could be investment in bits of software, maybe like a CRM system or your website, that kind of stuff. Okay, so it's got a broad reach, and I would hope that more of you are spending more than 10% of your annual churn. So I think that's an important one to get out of the way, because you may or may not be surprised that when I sit down with people to talk to them about their marketing plans, one of my first questions is, well, what's your budget? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is, oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. Well, I'm telling you that you should think about it. And 9 times out of 10, they have thought about it. They just think that not telling me is going to get them, I don't know, maybe better value or something. Like that's not, it's not really how it works, right? You know, you're asking me to pull together like a marketing strategy for you, but I've no idea how much money you've got to invest. So that could involve having a budget of 5 grand a year, 10 grand a year. Well, I can do a lot more with 20. I can do, good things with 50. You give me 100 grand and I can give you a much different marketing plan to what you would have if you just had 5. So if you are going to engage and outsource with professionals, look, just be open and honest with them. Have a dialogue around budget that's sensible, because that will enable the person you're speaking to give you the right advice for the budget that you have in mind. Okay, there we go. I'll leave the budget conversation there. So where do you really start when it comes down to the nitty gritty? The company goal, right? What is your company goal? And then you need to keep that at the very, very heart of all of your marketing activity. If your marketing activity doesn't go towards you reaching your company goal, then don't do it. Okay, don't do the vanity stuff that you think is nice to have if it doesn't have any bearing on your overall company goal. That's the number one thing you need to keep in mind. Think about your target market as well, and do some homework. Look into where they hang out. I mean, don't mean quite literally, but what sort of social media do they consume? Because maybe your customers are on Twitter, maybe they're on Instagram, maybe they're on Facebook, maybe they're on TikTok, maybe they're on them all. But what I would suggest to you is find the place where the majority of them spend the majority of their time, and then invest your time and effort in that particular genre, right? So rather than trying to be all things to all men, or just posting ubiquitously across all of the platforms, and not really engaging on them, focus on one platform where they are going to be and make your efforts count there. Now, the main thing about marketing plans, and especially if you go online and look up how to pull together a marketing plan, or what do I need for a marketing plan, it can get really quite confusing, and it can seem like it's a bigger beast than it is, especially when you engage some consultants who will charge you a small fortune to pull together a marketing plan. Look, this is bite-sized marketing. This is all about keeping it simple, right? So look at where the majority of your business has previously come from and focus there. So as an example, if the majority of your business has come around from word of mouth, then focus more on networking and building up more word of mouth referrals. It's not rocket science, right? If the majority of your business comes through website inquiries, website sales, then focus the majority of your efforts on improving the customer journey and bringing your lead, if you like, to life. So maybe you look at funneling or channeling your website traffic down so that they make a decision, or you get them to that call of action a little bit sooner. Pick one area and focus on it. The second one is use experts. I've come into contact recently with quite a few people who have been sort of thinking that they can do it themselves just as well. And look, you can do a lot of this stuff yourself, and it will save you some money, right? But what I'm going to say to you now is, it is a little bit of a false economy. Okay, it may save you some money, but think about how much you charge your time out for, and then maybe it's not such such a saving, all right, to be doing it yourself. So things like building your own website, well, all right, you can do that on different platforms these days, but does it really give you a website that's fit for purpose? All right, some of these sort of cheaper shared websites, they're not so great at being built in terms of having your SEO sprinkled through it properly. Think about engaging a professional to give a professional service. So things with like copywriting, all right? Engage and invest in a copywriter, and the words on your website are going to look and definitely appeal better to your target market than if you were going to write it yourself. I mean, these are sort of cliched things to sort of say, but I could probably rewire a house, but it probably wouldn't pass the standards. Well, it certainly wouldn't if I wasn't registered. But I probably wouldn't do a great job, right? I'd probably be able to get the lights on, but would they work effectively? Probably not. And it's the same for marketing. Okay, so engage with professionals, outsource things, go to the people that know how to get the most for your money, and always get 3 quotes from people, right? Don't just go to the first person that you speak to. Make sure they align well with you. Right, if you have a team, make sure that you share things with your team. Make sure you ask your team for their ideas, right? The majority of them are going to be the people on the ground. So ask them for their advice in terms of what they think should be added into your marketing plan for 2023. Coming back to this do one thing well, right? So if you pick a social media platform, and let's say Instagram, right? Think about doing it well. So think about a mini plan behind your posting on social media. So think about your brand, what it represents. Think about your values, your tone of voice, how you want to be perceived and come across. Think about the why, that goal. Think about making sure that everything points towards that goal. Just being on social media for the sake of it is not going to drive sales through your website or through in-person meeting or whatever it may be. So make sure you do things with purpose. Think, why should I engage with me? Yeah. With the content that I'm posting. So try and be quite critical about what you post. Try and post things that are going to get a response from someone, get an engagement. Okay. Now, having 10 likes, having 100 likes, having 1,000 likes on your post doesn't really mean anything if you're not engaging with people and getting people to a call of action, all right, and getting that lead into your system in order for you to be able to follow it up. Okay. And I've just said that the conversion, think about the conversion, the call to action. Think about pushing and pointing people to a destination to get them to convert. Think about marketing being like short, medium, and long term. So, short term marketing, I would say, getting results. The majority of marketing is long term, right? But things that can get you results reasonably quickly, well, the use of social media and advertising, pay per click specifically, can get you some leads. Although, Chert, we'll talk about this next week. Monitoring and evolving your pay-per-click and what you're searchable for and what you get found for is one of the skills that someone like Chert will bring to the party, and that does take a few weeks and months to perfect. So it's not that instant, but it can be in terms of driving maybe traffic to your website. Think about PR. That can be quite instant. Although it's mainly about raising awareness, but it can give you backlinks to your website as an example. So you can get some short-term wins by doing PR. Look, this isn't an endless list, by the way, all right? These are just some of the things you can focus on. In terms of medium term, you can think about your SEO or investing in your SEO, because again, that won't happen overnight. You're not going to jump up the Google rankings instantly, all right? It does take months, and it can take 6 months. It can take over a year for the SEO, the inbound marketing stuff, to actually take effect. So you may well think about writing blogs, but the blogs, if they're well written and if they include the keywords, they're not going to get found by people online for quite a few months. I do the blogs. I outsource the copywriting, of course, but I do manage blogs for some of my clients, and we generally find that it's about 5 months that it takes to get traction on blogs once they've been written and posted to your website. Okay, so they're medium term things. Long term activities, well, networking. Now, I know some of you would be thinking, oh, well, I got some business the first time I went networking. Look, that's fine. But building deep and meaningful relationships, if you like, that last does take time. So in terms of your networking, think long term in terms of the people that you're associating with and building those real bonds so that they're able to know, like, and trust you in the long term. And look, marketing in general is a long-term investment, okay? And here's one of the big secrets of marketing. Don't do things in isolation, all right? Make sure that you tie the focus area through all of your marketing communications. So if you're producing a social media advert, right, make sure that when you look at your website, that the visuals from the advert are reflected on your website, or the messages from your advert are reflected on your website. Think about your staff being up to speed with what the advert's all about and what the main message is. Think about the brochure. Think about your email marketing. Think about your PR. Make sure that the message carries through all of your activity, because the majority of people that I'm speaking to, they're saying, but Miles, we've tried marketing and it doesn't work. All right. And I'm here to tell you that it does work. You've just been doing it wrong. And when I scratch the surface and ask the deeper questions, what I find is that they've tried radio advertising. Okay, nothing wrong with radio advertising. Oh, but we didn't get anything from it, Miles. Okay, but did you do anything else around it? Well, no, we could only really afford to do the radio advertising. Okay. Oh, we tried social media. We paid this company to do ads for us and we were paying them £500 a month. Okay, well, what else did you do to tie that in? And also, in my opinion, your investment wasn't high enough in your paid advertising to get any cut through. All right. That this is one of the reasons why you use an expert, because you can piss away your money quite quickly by not investing at the right sort of level in the right activity, and doing things once and dipping into stuff. It is very, very ineffective. What you need to do is you need to build the sort of foundations, and you need to build the web, if you like, and you need to be doing things consistently and often, and making sure that all of your activity ties in together and it's cohesive. Okay. So here's some ideas, and this is the main idea that I want you to take on board here is just do it. It doesn't have to be a posh marketing plan. It doesn't have to be reams and reams of paper. It can just be one statement, if you like, that you want to go after something and do it well. But do do start by doing something, and here are some of the ideas, right? Some of the quick wins for you. So have you got a customer relationship management system in place? Sounds complicated, doesn't it? A CRM, customer relationship management system, will allow you to do a number of things. It allows you to build a database, which is very important. And now, when you build a database, you may well have a database of your customers already, and it may be on your computer, right? Well, you're not going to be compliant with GDPR on that particular instance, and the data commissioner may have a bone to pick with you if he so wishes. And he can fine you, I say it's a he, they can fine you an enormous amount of money. So if you hold customers' data, please go on to the data commissioner's website and see if you need to sign up. I think the lowest level is something like £40 a year. I would recommend that you do that. Having a CRM system, one of the big ones, will mean that you are compliant with GDPR there. And by using their systems to send out emails, etc., again, it automatically includes your address on the emails and the opt-out facility for those who no longer wish to receive marketing communications from you. So if you do one thing, all right, and you haven't got it, get yourself a CRM system, because you can start to build your database up, which, as we know, data is valuable these days. And certainly if you're looking to sell your business in years to come, having a good, robust database of your customers is very important. But it will also allow you to do some email marketing to people. It'll allow you to build a simple funnel so that you're able to target people in a meaningful way. Okay, so get yourself a CRM. Simple funneling I talked about. So think about connecting with people within your sphere on LinkedIn or on Instagram. Think about supporting them. Start to become known to them within their sphere, right? And by this, I do not mean that you sign up to LinkedIn Navigator and start bombarding new connections with how bloody brilliant you are at doing whatever it is that you do. Because I can tell you now, it's a fishing exercise. You may send 10,000 requests out and you may get one or two people come through. The quality of those people, I'm going to tell you, is probably pretty low. Start building meaningful relationships with people online. That's the way to build trust with them. Maybe start becoming an expert. Do some PR. It's not as hard as it sounds. I did this, go back and look at one of my previous webinars. We talked about free PR, how you can go onto these websites these days and be writing content to get you noticed. You can be the expert. Maybe you're going to think about upping your SEO, your search engine optimization. Now, again, we had Dylan on a few weeks ago. I'd recommend that you use an expert to do this for you, right? But you can look at your own website and think, right, have I really got all of the key phrases that I want on here? So use a copywriter, give them the keywords, all right? Don't rely on them to come up with them for you. You do your research into what are going to be the best keywords for you. Make sure you get those into your blog content, all that kind of stuff. Why don't you generate some lazy content? Now, this is an example of lazy content, right? So every Tuesday I come on and I do my webinar, right? It lasts about half an hour or so. But that's not all that happens. So it gets populated to my YouTube page. I also save it down. I'm able to then repurpose it onto my website. So it's a bit of content that I can update my website with. I then strip the audio out with a bit of software and I repost that to a podcast. So just there, from me sitting down and investing half an hour of my time, all right, it takes me a little while to prepare for them, but ultimately half an hour of my time, I'm then able to repurpose that a number of ways. I could also cut a segment out of this and post it on social media. So think about producing content, which is lazy, all right, lazy content that you can repurpose. Create a calendar for that. You will see that every month I post a little rundown of all of the events that I'm doing throughout the month. And yeah, I mean, we're already booked up. The next slot's April, that's available for a guest slot on the show. So do yourself a little calendar and try and keep up with that. If you've got the budget for it, I would recommend outsourcing. I mean, I'm going to say, right, if you have the budget for it, then use a professional like myself who can handle it all for you, right? The whole point of engaging me as an outsourced marketing department is we agree the plan together based on my strategic understanding of your business. And then once we've agreed the plan and we've agreed the budget, I go away and manage that entirely on your behalf for you, right? So all you need to do is to sort of nod, give the thumbs up, give the approvals of what we're doing. But I handle all of that for you by using other outsourced specialists to deliver those programs. So if you can afford it, I'd recommend that because it does take the strain out of it. Maybe you want to think about some tools. Think about the sales tools that the people within your business have got. When was the last time that you chatted to one of your customers about all of the other products and services that you offer? They might only deal with you for one particular service. They may not even be aware that you offer a number of services. So think about brochures, samples, demo videos, stuff like that. Right, we're coming to the end now, so I'm going to give you my top 3 tips, the rundown for you to get your head around a simple marketing plan for 2023. So the first thing is to write it down and assign key tasks to the team or to outsource them. Set yourself some targets, give yourself some KPIs, track the performance of the work that you're doing. So if you're going to get involved with social media this year, then make a note of how many followers, on average, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares. Look at the stats. A lot of these social media platforms now, they have in-depth insights into their stats. Make a note of them when you start and make a note of them after you have been posting for a little while. Maybe you set yourself an amount of money that you want to earn, or a number of customers that you want to bring in, number of page views for your website, whatever it may be. Set a target. It'll allow you to track your performance against it. And don't forget the most important thing, keep the company goal right at the very heart of all of your marketing communications. If you do this, you will not go far wrong. There we go. That's it. That's the end of the very first bite-sized marketing webinar of 2023. We have to get used to saying that. Simple marketing plans. Obviously, we are here every single Tuesday at 12:30 live on LinkedIn. You can catch up at any time by clicking on the link that gets posted. And it is on my feed for posterity. So if you've missed out on any of the ones, I did a little recap last week of the year. So maybe you want to go back, listen to that, and then you can go back through my page and grab one of the subjects on catch up. Right, look, the marketing is an enormous subject, and it's really hard to sort of pull it all down into half an hour's chat, right? The main thing I want you to take away from this is actually just do something about it. Get yourself out there and be consistent. Okay, well, looking forward to seeing Chert next week, and we're going to talk all about paid advertising. But until then, ta-ta.